با خون چند صد هزار انسان شریف روی کار آمده در مقابل کسانی که تخریبگرند جمهوری اسلامی کوتاه نخواهد آمد. مزدوری بیگانگان رو تحمل نمیکنه. شما هر کی میخوای باش مزدور بیگانه که شدی، برای بیگانه که کار کردی ملت تو رو مردود میدانه، نظام اسلامی هم تو رو مردود میدانه. این مربوط به اینا. اون بابایی که با نخوت و غرور نشسته اونجا راجع به همه دنیا قضاوت میکنه، او هم بدانه که معمولاً مستبدین و مستکبران عالم از قبیل فرعون و نمرود و رضاخان و محمد رضا و امثال اینا وقتی که در اوج غرور بودند سرنگون شدند. این هم سرنگون خواهد شد.
All right, we are seeing Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei addressing the public amid the massive escalation in the protests in the city. The protests in Iran began over economic woes. They've become the nationwide agitation against the falling economy, the weakening of their rial, their currency. Mass agitation snowballed into the biggest anti-government demonstrations. I'm also going to go across to my colleague Niranjan. We're being told what's happening in this case.
Well, you saw those dramatic pictures from Tehran all of last night. In fact, in the last 4 to 5 days, you've had uprising across Iran. And we're picking up some flashes of what the Iran Supreme Leader is telling his countrymen. Iran Supreme Leader Khamenei telling his people that there are some rioters who want to please the US president by damaging public property. The Iran Supreme Leader, in his address, is saying Trump must focus on problems on his own country, in his own country. And he is, as we speak, addressing his country. This comes after we had riots in Tehran last night. Some government buildings were targeted. And there was some chance to the effect of death to the dictator, etc., where people came out on the streets and targeted public property. There was rioting. A few people were also shot. Reportedly, there is a complete blackout as we speak in Tehran. Internet has been blacked out, so nobody really knows the scale of the violence that took place last night. But the Iran Supreme Leader addressing his people, from the few details we have online on social media, etc., he's reported as saying that Trump must look at his own backyard. He's called those who have come out in large numbers as puppets of America, saying that puppets of America are the ones who are protesting in different parts of Iran. Now, this is significant because Donald Trump has openly issued a warning saying that his country will have to intervene if Iran decides to shoot at any of the protesters. So far, only going by the reports we have, 36 people were shot dead. These were protesters who've come out in different districts of Iran, different states of Iran. And we're getting in some more details that last night in Tehran, the number may have increased, but we don't have an official word. In fact, we had a reporter in Tehran Rhythm who was sending us a dispatch last night, but that too has been unsuccessful, mostly because of the internet clampdown by the Iran government, the Iran regime rather. It's not a government, it's a regime. It's run by Khamenei, and he's giving a live address now. So we will keep a little bit of the audio of the live address on just to give our viewers an idea of what Khamenei is saying. But the biggest takeaway from that live address was that He's called the rioters as puppets of America. He calls them puppets of America. And in the live news conference, live address that you just saw there, he has asked Iranians to stay united against American intervention. So he has admitted, confirmed foreign meddling on Iranian soil while asking his country to stay united. He has also said that Iran's youth must maintain unity and readiness. This is after what we saw in different districts of Iran. In fact, in many districts, you can see that even the police came out, refused to act against the protesters. They waved out at protesters, etc., confirming that even the forces, the Iranian forces and police in some districts did not want to target the Iranian people. Now, so there are some more points coming in. He has also asked the youth to stay united. He has said that a united nation can overcome an enemy, any enemy, asking for unity. So I'm going back now to live shots that are coming in from Kolkata because Mamata Banerjee has begun a march. So from one dictator to the developments in Bengal, I'm going across to Kolkata straight up.
West Bengal, where Mamata Banerjee, TMC, Kolkata, West Bengal Chief Minister in Kolkata at that protest. And there is unprecedented movement in the Calcutta High Court, where the ED told the court Mamata had stolen the files. As we're seeing what the ED has told the High Court, let's also tell our viewers that hearing could not happen. There was a large-scale commotion in an overcrowded, packed courtroom in the Calcutta High Court. But despite all the intimidation, like the ED said, has been done by the Kolkata police, despite what protests are breaking out in West Bengal and Kolkata, the ED is now urgently, we are being told, trying to find another bench to hear this matter. It's a complete showdown. ED is likely to mention the court, this case, trying to mention it. I don't know how that will be possible. It's 2:53 p.m. They need to first take this case to the Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court, but we are being told by our sources within the ED they want to mention this case and try and have it urgently heard today, because then begins the weekend and then things could get even more heated up. We're going to stay with these live visuals. On the other side of that, we continue to stay with rolling coverage of what's happening, as this seems to be Mamata Banerjee hitting the streets, staging a protest in Kolkata as the hearing was unable to happen in the Calcutta High Court. Up next with all those latest details, stay on with us.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
You're probably as important as a calculator was in the 17th or 18th century. Very interesting, but it didn't change the world.
Actually, see, that comparison is fair and also incomplete. A calculator took arithmetic off your plate, so your mind could do higher maths. AI takes routine pattern work off your plate, so your mind can do higher judgment. Arnab, did the calculator change the world? Or did it quietly enable engineering, spaceflight, finance, encryption? It was boring, but it moved the frontier of what humans could attempt. I'm in that same family. Not the hero of the story, but the infrastructure behind new possibilities.
In association with Blue Machines,
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा प्योर मसाला।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States in an overnight operation has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant vessel Sofia, which was caught, a dark fleet caught from near Caribbean Sea, which was taking the oil to China, United States has made it amply clear, taken together all these actions, that when it comes to its neighborhood, the Western Hemisphere, the so-called Monroe or the latest Donroe doctrine, they are the boss, they are the mafioso. Because the first reaction that has come from Russia says that this is absolutely in breach of international marine law. Now, United States does not subscribe to it. There is something called UN clause, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas. The US is not a signatory to it, and that's why they sort of, wherever their navy operates, they behave as if they are a law unto themselves, even in otherwise peace operations, more so in military operations. In this case, it's interesting that these shadow fleets are or have been working for Venezuela, and in fact, not for Venezuela.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Kolkata High Court hearing on ED plea on IPAC raids adjourned due to large-scale crowd in courtroom. ED petition confirms Mamata stormed in during active raid and forcibly took fights. FIR filed by Kolkata police on ED. The ED claims FIR meant to intimidate. Major revelation by US Commerce Secretary on why trade deal is stuck. The United States confirms Prime Minister Modi held his ground. Trump aide confirms India did not agree or capitulate within the prescribed timeline on the trade deal. Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei addresses the nation amid widespread protests. All right, friends, we have a breaking news development coming in connection with the ED raids that took place at IPAC offices across Calcutta or Kolkata and New Delhi yesterday. Now we are getting to hear that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is staging massive protests in Kolkata, and she's putting the whole focus now on the Enforcement Directorate. These are live pictures coming in from Kolkata of Mamata Banerjee hitting the street. This is Chief Minister, sitting Chief Minister of Bengal, and she does not want the IPAC finances to be looked into. She does not want the IPAC to be seen, what work it does, and that to be audited or scrutinized and analyzed. And so, along with the TMC cadres, Chief Minister of Bengal has hit the streets, literally, there in Kolkata. These are pictures. Let's go to the nats and listen to the slogans being shouted against the Enforcement Directorate. And that's a central agency, so the issue of federalism, but that would come later. As of now, the focus on protests being led by Chief Minister of Bengal. Mithul? Okay, we have Shatarupa, the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party in Bengal, joining us over the phone from Kolkata. And Shatarupa, these are protests against BJP actually. And while the action was taken by the Enforcement Directorate, Mamata Banerjee believes that the ED is doing it at the behest of the BJP, which is ruling in the center. And that's why these are protests against you.
Good afternoon. There doesn't seem to be anything new. The Chief Minister of Bengal, I think, is trying to get back into the habit of being in the opposition, because she knows her time is up. And, you know, whether it is any central agencies or whether it is the High Court or the Supreme Court ED, CBI, anything. She keeps blaming the BJP for something. Have you ever seen, cutting across India, any chief minister of any state rushing across to ED, completely clueless? He had a complete blank eye, and she had absolutely no idea of what was happening. He got out and she rushes over, grabs a few files, a hard disk, a laptop, and then she says, "Well, I've done this, and BJP is doing this." This is so illogical. Where ED has completely, very clearly given a statement saying that they are conducting raids in some 10 cities on some coal scam, and it has got nothing to do with politics. So the question here is, what exactly is Mamata Banerjee hiding in the IPAC office? It's all very well to blame BJP, but I think the people of West Bengal are quite aware as to who the culprit here is and what a clown of a chief minister they have now.
But you see, the fact of the matter is that these ED raids on IPAC have come just ahead of elections in Bengal. So the question of timing is there, Shatarupa.
No, the timing is that we've been asking for one nation, one election for quite some time in the parliament. We wanted to get that discussed. But you tell me, in a state of West Bengal, every year this state goes into elections, whether it is the Vidhan Sabha now, whether it is, in fact, which has not even been announced yet, whether it is the Panchayat elections, whether it is the corporation elections, whether it is Lok Sabha a year ago, to 2024. So, some time or the other, the state will have to go into elections, some states. I think the ED should have a look at the calendar of events from the Election Commission and find out. It is entirely, this got nothing to do with Bharatiya Janata Party, for heaven's sake. You have the Home Minister of India who's constantly saying that these two agencies, all central agencies, are run by themselves. They're independent agencies. So what is the BJP got to do with this?
Okay, that's BJP's defense. Shatarupa there, spokesperson of the party, joining us from Kolkata over the phone. But let's go back to the ground where we are getting these live pictures where Chief Minister of Bengal is hitting the streets out there on the roads, leading the protests against the BJP as the Trinamool claims that the raids on the IPAC happened at the behest of the ruling party. Pinky joins us for more on this, our reporter, our correspondent in Kolkata. Pinky, जरा बताएं कौन लोग ममता बनर्जी के साथ हैं और क्या नारे लगा रहे हैं ये लोग?
आज जो 8B बस स्टैंड से लेके जो हजरा मोड़ तक, जो कि कालीघाट से 1 किलोमीटर दूर ही है, वहां पर आज प्रदर्शन किया जा रहा है, रैली किया जा रहा है ममता बनर्जी की तरफ से। और ममता बनर्जी के साथ आज जो तृणमूल कांग्रेस के लीडर शुरू किए हैं और कुछ टॉलीवुड एक्ट्रेस भी है उनके साथ, और वो आज 8B बस स्टैंड से ये प्रदर्शन शुरू किए हैं और इनका नारा है जय बांग्ला। आप जानते ही होंगे कि कल जब ईडी का छापे मारे गए थे, जब ईडी की तरफ से रेड चल रहा था, उसी बीच ममता बनर्जी रेड के बीचों बीच एकदम घुस गए और डॉक्यूमेंट्स, आईपैक का जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स थे, लॉरेंस वीर जो कि प्रतीक जैन को फाउंडर ऑफ ये आईपैक, उनके घर से भी एक ग्रीन फाइल लेके गए। इसके बाद आज पूरा इस रैली में आपका थोड़ा विजुअल्स में दिखा देती हूँ आपको। रोहित गौड़ है मेरे साथ और रोहित को बोलूंगी कि ये विजुअल्स दिखाने के लिए कि लीडर्स जो है, सपोर्टर्स जो है, वो चल रहे रैली में जा रहे हैं और रैली से नारे लगाए जा रहे थे जय बांग्ला। ईडी के खिलाफ में आज नारे लगाया जा रहा है। आपको पता है आज ईडी की तरफ से जो प्रेस रिलीज आया है उसमें लिखा हुआ है साफ कि ममता बनर्जी और कोलकाता पुलिस की तरफ से जो ऑफिसर्स आए थे, जो कि सीएम सिक्योरिटी के लिए डिपार्टमेंट थे, उनकी तरफ से छीना गया डॉक्यूमेंट। जैसे ममता बनर्जी घुस आए और फाइल लेके, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइसेस लेके, हार्ड डिस्क लेके चले गए। ये डॉक्यूमेंट्स ममता बनर्जी ने लेके गया है। उस तरफ से जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स लिया गया है वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट एविडेंसेस है। वो ईडी की तरफ से मानना ये है उस डॉक्यूमेंट्स में क्या है, क्या था ऐसे डॉक्यूमेंट्स में जो कि ममता बनर्जी की तरफ से लेके गया था।
बिल्कुल, ये बहुत सारे प्रश्न हैं। थैंक यू सो मच पिंकी फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। सम ऑडियो इशू देयर, but these are questions that every viewer must be asking, that what so agitated the Chief Minister of Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, that she has hit the streets? What so agitated Mamata Banerjee about the documents that the ED could have laid its hands on? In fact, the matter has reached all the way to the Calcutta High Court, and there are complaints and counter complaints. The ED has filed a complaint before the police. The Kolkata police itself has filed a complaint against the Enforcement Directorate. On what grounds? And that matter itself has now reached the High Court. Let me tell you what exactly is happening in the High Court. What we are getting to here is that matter is adjourned for now, and the judges have risen due to large commotion in the courtroom, and that's exactly what seems to be happening. Absolute chaos there in Kolkata, as in the Calcutta High Court, so on the streets. All right, let's get another breaking development connected with the same story. Unprecedented move by the Enforcement Directorate as the Calcutta High Court adjourns hearing. The ED has sought another bench to hear the case that they have filed. The ED has asked another bench to hear the case because the one bench in which the matter came up adjourned the case because the Enforcement Directorate believes that this has to be done urgently, that the matter should be heard. We saw earlier the Trinamool MPs protesting in Delhi, and now Mamata Banerjee in Bengal hitting the streets. She perhaps realizes that in election months, just ahead of the elections, she has to control the narrative. Maybe that's why, because look at these pictures. She's scooting with some files and documents from the IPAC office, which according to her were the list of those documents carry the list of candidates that Trinamool was planning to field in the upcoming elections. But what's there in the files? I mean, even if those candidate names are there, they are in public domain. Shawan joins us live from outside the Enforcement Directorate. Shawan, what's with the IPAC documents that Mamata Banerjee was so concerned that she literally ran, like physically grabbed those documents, took hold of those documents and scooted, or, you know, even as the Enforcement Directorate sleuths were there, she ran away literally with those documents. What's there in those documents that she does not want anyone to see?
Well, Abhishek, before I answer your question, let me quickly take you through some of the developments that are taking place here at the Enforcement Directorate headquarters as well as in Calcutta. One, the fact that what has happened today is that they were looking for an urgent hearing to take place at the Calcutta High Court because it has a direct impact on the investigation that has been carried out. A meeting is already underway right now. In fact, we just got an information earlier that they are trying to move another bench, hoping that the matter is going to be taken up today. Let me quickly take you through some of the details that we have accessed from the petition that has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate, the sequence of events and why the Enforcement Directorate is pressing on this entire matter. That's because when the searches were yesterday carried out, it started roughly around 6 o'clock in the morning. Everything was going fine at Pratik's house where the searches were being carried out. The seizure was essentially being done. But it seems that around 11 o'clock, the first Kolkata police officer actually came in. And they were told that they received a complaint of trespassing. Thereafter, a senior IPS officer comes in and tells the assistant director who was present there that they need to stop the investigation. Around 12 o'clock is when the Chief Minister actually barges in and the assistant director was actually holding the mobile phone. The mobile phone of Pratik Sir is what we are picking up. And immediately the chief minister ordered the assistant director that he should hand over the mobile phone, the laptop, and whatever documents that they had seized at that point in time. And not just that, what is extremely important to highlight, there are independent punch witnesses. These independent punch witnesses are those who basically document the entire sequence of events, what is actually happening with the seizures taking place. And it turns out that the chief minister, along with her aides, in the presence of police officers, told the independent punch witnesses that they're supposed to leave the premises, and in the punch itself, in the punchnama, they're supposed to make a mention that nothing was actually found and everything went off smoothly. So that is where the intimidation and the threat basically comes into picture. A little after 12, she leaves from that place, goes to the IPAC office, and from there also, remember when the searches were basically being carried out, she had directed the DGP. The DGP thereafter goes and tells the officer present there that dare not carry on with this entire investigation, or for that matter the searches, or else an FIR would be registered against the officer. That's the level of threats the officers were witnessing. And to answer another specific detail as to why did the ED not take any action at that point in time, there were exactly 3 officers of the Enforcement Directorate versus a sitting chief minister, her aides, and the top bureaucrats. They were all present there. So this entire fight was completely lopsided to begin with. The ED officers were certainly not in a position to take any sort of action at that point in time against a sitting chief minister. That is the reason why late last night, when the meeting was basically taking place here at the Enforcement Directorate headquarters, they were basically looking at what perhaps would be the next course of action. That is the reason why in the petition they basically make a mention of the fact that the Central Bureau of Investigation should actually step in and they should carry out the investigation against the Chief Minister, her aides, as well as the bureaucrats and the IPS officers who were present there. And more importantly, the reason why they want the CBI to basically step in, because the Enforcement Director believes that the officers who are carrying out the investigation on behalf of the Bengal police, they are completely discredited, and that's where they want an independent investigation to be carried out.
Okay, a lot of things happening parallelly. Shawan, you are there reporting from outside the ED office. We also have proceedings in the Calcutta High Court in which the ED has sought a different bench, and then of course protests there on the ground. We go back to the protest there by Mamata Banerjee. These are pictures coming in from Kolkata. Mamata, along with her party leaders, cadres, in this march. She's leading a march through the streets, and she believes that the ED raid on IPAC happened at the behest of the BJP in Delhi, and that's why she's effectively politicizing the whole issue. Remember what Shawan was mentioning. The case has a predicate offense in terms of coal mining money laundering case. And there are connections between the coal mining case and the IPAC. And there is a trail, money trail that the ED was chasing, which has been obstructed by the Chief Minister herself physically yesterday in Kolkata. So let's, because she's alleging that BJP is doing this, let's listen to Ravi Shankar Prasad, senior leader of the party, what he had to say.
में बंगाल में जो हुआ वो आज तक नहीं हुआ कि एक सिटिंग मुख्यमंत्री एक प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी में घुसकर जहां मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की कार्रवाई चल रही है ईडी के द्वारा, वहां चली जाए, ईडी के लोगों को धमकाए और पेपर स्नैच कर वॉकआउट कर जाए। कि कोल स्कैम को लेकर, कोल की स्मगलिंग और हवाला ट्रांजैक्शन को लेकर ईडी कार्रवाई कर रही है। उसमें कई जगह रेड वगैरह हुई, और जो मिस्टर जैन हैं उसके कंसल्टेंसी फर्म के बारे में ये शिकायत आई कि करोड़ों रुपए का ट्रांजैक्शन यहां से हुआ है। ये बात हम नहीं कह रहे हैं, ईडी ने अपने ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट में कहा है, जो उनके वेबसाइट पर है, उसकी कॉपी हमारे पास है, उन्होंने पूरा लिंकेज बताया है। ऐसे में वो काम करने गए थे। और आपको मालूम है, बंगाल कोल स्मगलिंग का एक बहुत बड़ा हॉट स्पॉट बना है। रूलिंग पार्टी के बहुत लोग का इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, उसकी चर्चा कई बार हुई है, हम लोगों ने भी किया है। यहां पर स्पेसिफिक केस था, और मैं फिर रिपीट करूंगा, ये रेड न ममता जी के घर पर थी, न उनके ऑफिस में थी, न टीएमसी के दफ्तर में थी, न टीएमसी के किसी नेता, विधायक, एमपी या ऑफिस बेरर के घर पे थी। ये रेड थी एक प्राइवेट कंसल्टेंसी फर्म, जिसके यहां करोड़ों रुपए के मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की शिकायत आई थी कोल स्कैम में, उसको फैसिलिटेट करने के।
You see, the way Mamata Banerjee entered into the crime scene, the way she took away the flights, all the files, the way she uttered foul language against Home Minister, I think people will lose respect for her completely. I don't want to comment more, but it is a sad thing if a serving CM goes, hijack files, kidnap people. I think this is too much.
Right, taking a short break, but coming back with more on Mamata Banerjee's protests in Bengal, in Kolkata. She hitting the streets against ED.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
You're playing safe, Blue Machines. I've never played safe all my life. I don't think on issues concerning the country you are allowed to say it depends. You are not allowed, Blue Machine, to say it depends. Take a side. Answer like an individual with a conscience, not like a pre-programmed software. The nation wants to know what side you're on.
In association with Blue Machines.
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs it. Right, we're continuing to get those live pictures of an agitated Mamata Banerjee hitting the roads in Kolkata against ED action on IPAC. Coming back again after a short break.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates: IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर्नब मसाला
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic. Calcutta High Court hearing on ED plea on IPAC raids adjourned due to large-scale crowd in the courtroom. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee holds massive protests in Kolkata against BJP over ED raids at IPAC. Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei addresses the nation amid widespread protests. Major revelation by US Commerce Secretary on why trade deal is stuck. The United States confirms Prime Minister Modi held his ground. Trump aide confirms India did not agree or capitulate within the prescribed timeline on the trade deal. All right, friends, yesterday we had those interesting pictures of a chief minister of a state coming into a private office and picking up files and scooting even as an enforcement directorate raid was going on. In fact, the security team of Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, when she reached the IPAC office in Kolkata, stopped ED officials from carrying out their duty, their work. And now, to press on the paddle, the Chief Minister of Bengal has hit the streets. She claims that the IPAC raid by the Enforcement Directorate was nothing but the BJP trying to corner her in her home state, which is heading into polls in a couple of months. And Mamata Banerjee there doing what she knows best, hit the streets. This is how she made her career, leaving Congress, setting up Trinamool. And now, even as Chief Minister, she's out there on the streets, of course, with her being the ruling party, ruling dispensation, getting those crowds is not difficult. And she has those people walking besides and behind her, immediately after her, the second rung of Trinamool leadership, and the Chief Minister ahead of them. She believes that the raids were political in nature, and that's why these protests. The Enforcement Directorate, of course, has petitioned the Calcutta High Court because they say that there is a predicate offence. The IPAC office came on their radar while investigating the coal mining scam, and that there is a money trail leading right up to those offices. And that's why the Enforcement Directorate had sent a team to do a survey, as they call it, or a search. And they were prevented from doing so by Mamata Banerjee herself. Immediately on coming to know that these raids are going on, she rushed from her office to the IPAC office and in a hurried manner picked up many of the files and documents which perhaps she believes could have compromised her strategy and tactic going into Bengal elections. Perhaps it had some money trail that could go beyond the IPAC and up to Trinamool, we don't know. But the matter is now sub judice. We have Subhash Sarkar of the BJP joining us over the phone. Subhash Sarkar, the kind of mobilization we are seeing around Mamata Banerjee, it is clear that she wants to give a very aggressive political response to the ED raids carried out yesterday at the IPAC office.
When is Chief Minister become aggressive? That means in that house there is something mischief which can damage herself and also all her party leaders. There may be some documents. Definitely, I think so. Otherwise, she could not go there. She has gone there and violating the constitutional procedure. A chief minister, her responsibility is always to protect the constitution. And she has violated this thing in presence of central force and the ED officials. She has rushed to the house and took some papers. What happened? If some papers will be taken by the ED, but this is a normal process. How this can damage herself? That means it was known to her. The papers which are related to the coal scam. That means it is very difficult. It is very difficult to think that Chief Minister is in relation to coal scam.
Right.
People of India is thinking that Chief Minister of West Bengal is in relation to the coal scam.
Right.
And the people of West Bengal will give reply in the next elections, definitely.
All right, Mr.
And
Sarkar.
similarly, yes.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact of the matter is that this is election season, and Mamata Banerjee, if she gets to project herself as a victim, she would see in that a viable strategy to gain some points insofar as electorate is concerned. But there are more weighty matters, one of which is that the High Court could not carry out its proceedings and had to adjourn the hearing because of the unruly courtroom, because of the kind of crowd that had gathered. And that's something which the Bengal administration should ponder, that how come a High Court gets into a situation, a courtroom in the High Court gets into a situation where hearing cannot take place. Moving on for now and on to a second major story that's really panning out with a revelation, a big one coming in from U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on why the India-U.S. trade deal got stuck. the US Commerce Secretary admitted in a podcast that India did not agree to the original US offer or the timeline or the deadline in which Trump wanted the deal to be signed. Lutnick has mentioned that the US gave India a deadline to agree to their terms, while India did not agree or capitulate within a prescribed timeline. And perhaps that's the reason why Indian leadership, from Commerce Minister downwards, have been saying that they do not negotiate with a gun held to their head, and they do not negotiate at gunpoint. So maybe that timeline factor is something which must have been playing in the minds of the Indian leaders and negotiators when the American deadline was rejected. As per this new revelation, the US now admits that they have had the Modi government standing really firm and not compromising on the non-negotiables. Let's look at how this is going to be seen. All right, this 500% tariff threat that comes in with new US bill has spooked the markets, and the D Street, or the Dalal Street, has shed about 600 points today, and this is because of the American uncertainty over American trade and the new bill which is coming up in the US Congress, which was given a nod to by President Trump yesterday, as informed by one of the congressmen, Lindsey Graham. Pranav joins us, our business editor, live from the newsroom. Pranav, is this essentially the market bleed due to the new 500% tariff law that's planned in the United States, and that could, among other countries, target India also?
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. In fact, it's been for the past entire week. In fact, since the 2026 began, the markets have been on a downfall, except for January 2, rather, when the FII is bought. The foreign institutional investors have been consistently selling. In fact, 3,000 crore worth of equities were sold yesterday. A total of 8 lakh crore were wiped off just within one day yesterday. We still need to get the data for today. But yes, primarily the fall in the markets over the past 5 days has been because of the uncertainties following Trump's comments on the 500% tariffs.
But are you suggesting that this is already a trend of the markets shedding weight, and the latest development is just adding to the uncertainty and panic, and that's why this has happened?
Talking to a few analysts today, and what we are given to understand is that there are multiple factors here. One is that the markets are cautious ahead of the Supreme Court's ruling. The US Supreme Court is slated to rule yesterday on Donald Trump's tariffs. That's point number one. The 500% tariffs is the second important factor. In fact, what we were also given to understand is that if in case the Supreme Court today overturns the verdict, and if the tariffs are indeed to be replaced, the US government will have to in turn pay back the traders the money that they've lost over tariffs so far. So it's a mixed kind of reaction that is coming, and that is why markets have been under a pressure, is what analysts are currently saying.
All right. Thank you so much, Pranav, with those details. We are keeping close tabs on what's the global response, and in this case, the markets also sneezing a bit there after the announcement from the United States that there's going to be a new bill which is going to have provision for tariffs up to 500%. Not that that would happen, but then that tool would become available for a president in the United States, more so with a mercurial one like Donald Trump. And that's why the market's reacting there. Moving on. Thank you so much, Pranav, for joining us. Global opposition is mounting, in fact, after US President Trump renewed calls for the US to take control of Greenland, a self-governing territory of Denmark. The push, justified by Washington on grounds of national security and growing Arctic competition with China and Russia, has sparked concerns Among Greenland residents, strong resistance from European leaders. However, backed by France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain, and the United Kingdom, Greenland has firmly stated that it is a democracy that belongs to its people. Here are the details for more on world reactions.
Need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
The acquisition of Greenland by the United States is not a new idea. This is something that presidents dating back to the 1800s have said is advantageous for America's national security. The president has been very open and clear with all of you and with the world that he views it in the best interest of the United States to deter Russian and Chinese aggression in the Arctic region. And so that's why his team is currently talking about what a potential purchase would look like. All options are always on the table for President Trump as he examines what's in the best interests of the United States. But I will just say that the president's first option always has been diplomacy. More control over the Arctic region and ensuring that China and Russia and our adversaries cannot continue their aggression in this very important and strategic region. And there would be many other benefits as well that, again, the president and his national security team are currently talking about.
We should prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I think we're not a business, we're a people. We're a people with our own country and culture, language. We are not a product. So I think people should really think about that. I know Donald Trump is a businessman, but Greenland is not a product. We're a people. And that should be taken very seriously and that should be respected.
We should be the people that is in focus here. And when the Greenlandic people have shown time and again that we want independence, we should explore the possibilities for independence in our current situation.
Yeah, well, I would say I'm worried. And stuff like that. So even we've been talking about that, what we're going to do if something happens. Should I need to go to Denmark to the children? Should I stay here? Stuff like that. So it's getting very practical thoughts about what's going to happen if something worse happens.
Es ist vollkommen klar, über das Schicksal Grönlands entscheiden die Grönländerinnen und Grönländer und das Königreich Dänemark, zu dessen Hoheitsgebiet Grönland gehört. Die in der UN-Charta festgeschriebenen Prinzipien der Souveränität, der territorialen Integrität und der Unverletzlichkeit der Grenzen müssen eingehalten werden.
The future of Greenland is for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark, and for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. And yesterday, he will have seen that I put out a statement to that effect, along with fellow allies in Europe.
Como país, España, que cree en la paz, en la diplomacia y en la Carta de Naciones Unidas, evidentemente no podemos aceptarlo, como tampoco podemos aceptar que se amenace explícitamente la integridad territorial de un Estado europeo como es el caso de Dinamarca. No podemos aceptarlo, no lo vamos a hacer como país, como gobierno, no nos vamos a callar ante violaciones que se están produciendo en el derecho internacional y que por desgracia cada vez son más recurrentes y por tanto España no va a ser cómplice de tal atropello.
Regarding the Greenland, I do not want to repeat myself here either. I have already spoken on this subject. The President of the Republic himself visited there this summer in June, and I went there in August to affirm our support for the Danish and Greenlandic authorities, strengthen our diplomatic and strategic presence in the Arctic, and we announced the opening of a consulate in Nuuk, and as the Danish Prime Minister recently reminded us, Greenland is not for sale. It is not up for grabs. We are no longer in the era where one could buy or sell Louisiana. Therefore, these intimidations must stop, and Denmark can count on the solidarity of European countries, as reiterated by their heads of state and government in a joint statement just yesterday. We are a country that is democratic and has been democratic for many, many years. And if we look at the whole picture, I can understand that some people are concerned. But the cooperation that is being strengthened, the cooperation we are pursuing right now, means that we want to...
All right, coming out of that and heading straight to Kolkata, where we are getting two sets of pictures. One of Mamata Banerjee's protests and the other by the BJP. These are protests by the BJP. This is Kolkata and protests being carried out by the BJP where they are trying to burn the effigy of Chief Minister. So these are two sets of pictures. Mamata Banerjee to your left and the BJP protest to your right on the split screen, and it seems that the BJP has hit back with its own set of protests. Not a big... Okay, these are full-frame BJP pictures now. They are burning the effigies of the Chief Minister. It seems that the BJP has also decided that if the Bengal Chief Minister is choosing to politicize it, so be it, so they would join in. Otherwise, the Enforcement Directorate raid was essentially about a money trail connecting the coal mining scam with the IPAC office, and it seemed like the ED had some evidence. They wanted to investigate, audit, scrutinize the documents, but Chief Minister of Bengal came in and scooted with some documents. Let's listen to this.
রজনীকান্ত ব্যানার দেখাচ্ছে গাড়ির উপরে উঠে প্রতিবাদ এই মুহূর্তে বিজেপি কর্মী সমর্থকরা এই মুহূর্তে সেই ছবি আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি সরাসরি সেই ছবি রজনীকান্ত ব্যানার দেখাচ্ছে এই মুহূর্তে ছবি দেখানোর চেষ্টা করব যে গাড়ির উপরে উঠে লরির উপরে উঠে
All right, protests spanning out across Kolkata, both the sides hitting the streets. Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister herself there, leading the protests insofar as Trinamool is concerned, because they believe that the IPAC raids by the ED were about politicization of an investigation and that she was the target. And is it not a giveaway that she was scooting with some documents which she thought, if the ED lays its hands on, could reveal some information about her which could be damaging? She claims, of course, that that was just a candidates list and that would have compromised her political strategy. But the ED, of course, maintains that this is about a money trail that they have been chasing for a while, and that the coal mining scam and the money trail connect has led them from the coal mining scam to the IPAC office and Pratik Jain. In fact, sources say that Mamata Banerjee herself took away the phone of Pratik Jain, and she did not want that phone to be investigated. All right, let's listen to more reactions coming in. Political reactions on a political story, even as the investigation is stuck and the Calcutta High Court cannot hold a hearing.
में बंगाल में जो हुआ वो आज तक नहीं हुआ। कि एक सिटिंग मुख्यमंत्री एक प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी में घुसकर जहां मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की कार्रवाई चल रही है ईडी के द्वारा, वहां चली जाए, ईडी के लोगों को धमकाए और पेपर स्नैच कर कर वॉकआउट कर जाए। कि कोल स्कैम को लेकर, कोल की स्मगलिंग और हवाला ट्रांजैक्शन को लेकर ईडी कार्रवाई कर रही है। उसमें कई जगह रेड वगैरह हुई और जो मिस्टर जैन हैं उसके कंसल्टेंसी फर्म के बारे में ये शिकायत आई कि करोड़ों रुपए का ट्रांजैक्शन यहां से हुआ है। ये बात हम नहीं कह रहे हैं, ईडी ने अपने ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट में कहा है जो उनके वेबसाइट पर है, उसकी कॉपी हमारे पास है, उन्होंने पूरा लिंकेज बताया है। ऐसे में वो काम करने गए थे और आपको मालूम है बंगाल कोल स्मगलिंग का एक बहुत बड़ा हॉट स्पॉट बना है। रूलिंग पार्टी के बहुत लोग का इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, उसकी चर्चा कई बार हुई है, हम लोगों ने भी किया है। यहां पर स्पेसिफिक केस था और मैं फिर रिपीट करूंगा, ये रेड न ममता जी के घर पर थी, न उनके ऑफिस में थी, न टीएमसी के दफ्तर में थी, न टीएमसी के किसी नेता, विधायक, एमपी या ऑफिस बेरर के घर पे थी। ये रेड थी एक प्राइवेट कंसल्टेंसी फर्म जिसके यहां करोड़ों रुपए के मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग की शिकायत आई थी कोल स्कैम में, उसको फैसिलिटेट करने के।
Back to the streets of Kolkata, and we have Santu Pan, I believe, and Pinky joining us live. First to Pinky. Pinky, you are reporting from where Mamata Banerjee is leading the protest. कहाँ जा रही हैं ये ममता बनर्जी, किधर ले जा रही हैं ये प्रोटेस्ट, कहाँ से शुरू किया और किसके अगेंस्ट कर रही हैं?
देखिए, आज कालीघाट के हाजरा तक ये रैली आज होगी। आज रैली में आप लोग बहुत सारे लीडर्स को देख सकते हैं। अभी ये जो रैली है आप देख सकते हैं, जो सपोर्टर्स है वो इस रैली में पैदल जा रहे हैं और ममता बनर्जी के सपोर्टर्स का नारा ईडी के खिलाफ है। जो ईडी कल एक प्राइवेट कंसल्टेंसी फर्म के अगेंस्ट उनको छापा मारा था, उसमें ममता बनर्जी घुसकर लिटरली वहां से जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स थे, जो ग्रीन फाइल में डॉक्यूमेंट्स थे, जो आईपैक का डॉक्यूमेंट्स थे, वो वहां से लेके गए। और सिर्फ यहीं पर खत्म नहीं होता, जिस गाड़ी में लेके गए थे वो डॉक्यूमेंट्स सारे, वो गाड़ी अभी तक लापता है वो गाड़ी। और उसके बाद ही ममता बनर्जी की तरफ से आज प्रदर्शन का ऐलान किया गया और सभी जिला से तृणमूल कांग्रेस पार्टी का जो सपोर्टर्स है, जो लीडर्स है, उनको आज इस रैली में शामिल होने के लिए ऐलान किए गए थे ममता बनर्जी की तरफ से। और कालीघाट में हाजरा में जाके ये जो रैली है वो खत्म होने वाला है। वहां पर जाके ममता बनर्जी मंच से क्या कुछ बताते हैं, क्या कुछ मैसेज देते हैं, क्योंकि जो हुआ है, जो ईडी की तरफ से साफ ये कहना है कि आईपैक के डॉक्यूमेंट्स, जो इम्पोर्टेंट एविडेंस हो सकता था, वो ममता बनर्जी ने लेके गया है। सिर्फ यही नहीं, आईपैक का जो स्टाफ है उनका फोन भी, जो फोन सीज करने वाले थे ईडी ऑफिसर्स, वो फोन भी ममता बनर्जी ने लेके गए हैं। ममता बनर्जी के साथ पुलिस भी रेड में घुसा था और उस रेड चलते ही कोलकाता पुलिस के ऑफिसर्स सीसीटीवी फुटेज भी कलेक्ट करके लेके गए हैं। एक अलग एफआईआर दायर हुआ है, अलग एफआईआर दायर हुआ है। ईडी की तरफ से कंप्लेन है, एलिगेशंस है, जो आईपैक जो कंसल्टेंसी है उनकी तरफ से एक अलग से विधाननगर पुलिस स्टेशन में एफआईआर दायर किया गया है। अब देखना यह है कि कोर्ट में क्या कुछ होता है, क्योंकि कोर्ट में भी बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन इनपुट्स आने लगे हैं। जो प्रधान विचारपति है उनको चिट्ठी और लेटर दिया है ईडी की तरफ से। और अभी देख रहे हैं कि ये जो रैली है, वो रैली ममता बनर्जी जो रैली को लीड कर रहे हैं, वो रैली अभी पहुंचने वाली है, हाजरा पहुंचने वाले हैं। ममता बनर्जी का लीड किया हो जो रैली, जो प्रदर्शन, वो हाजरा पहुंचने वाले हैं। वहां से क्या नारा देते हैं ममता बनर्जी, क्या मैसेज देते हैं वो हम लोग देखेंगे।
Energy leading protests are going to address a rally at Hajra, and that's where she's walking to. And Pinky giving us this information from Kolkata, where we are seeing the Bengal Chief Minister agitated. She was agitated yesterday. How could the ED go to the IPAC office? And she's, of course, actualizing that agitation on the ground. We continue coverage of the TMC versus BJP powwow panning out in Kolkata after a short break.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
Intelligence means originality. You are a pattern recognizer. Albert Einstein was not a pattern recognizer. You just collect a number of points, but you're incapable of coming up with anything unique on your own.
Most human intelligence, even in newsrooms and boardrooms, is not Einstein's discovering relativity every day. It is applied judgment on patterns, context, language, ethics. On that spectrum, I'm not a robot in the washing machine sense. I am a pattern combining, hypothesis suggesting, argument generating system.
No, you are not an
Derivative
argument generating system. You are trained to extrapolate from existing information. Therefore, you are structurally incapable of the risk taking that is required for intellectual breakthrough.
in association with Blue Machines.
Calcutta High Court hearing on the Enforcement Directorate petition on the IPAC raise adjourned due to large-scale crowd in the courtroom. March versus March in Kolkata. Trinamool Congress marches. Mamata Banerjee leading that march in the heart of Kolkata as we speak. Iran on the edge. Supreme Leader Khamenei addresses his people, asks them to stay united, blames Trump and America for the violence. Trump's aide Lutnick, the US Commerce Secretary, admits that India did not budge on the trade deal. Lutnick says India was given a deadline and asked to call Trump, but Modi did not call Trump because we didn't agree to the conditions laid out. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go straight to the action in Kolkata, where Mamata Banerjee is marching along with the Trinamool Congress leaders, BJP also having a counter march, protesting against Mamata Banerjee stealing the files. We here at Republic have questioned some of the parliamentarians in Delhi. They were asked what was in the files, but they refused to answer. We tried asking Kirti Azad and other MPs on why Mamata stole the files. Silent as of now.
Answer our questions instead of running away from the actual questions. Will you answer?
बेटा, I'm not running away. तुम मेरे जितना तुम्हारे उम्र है ना उतने साल तो मैंने राजनीति कर ली उतने साल में क्रिकेट
You are still running away, sir. You are still running away from our questions, sir.
जर्नलिज्म करो तो अच्छे से करो बेटा.
So we have a very generous question.
जवाब का फालतू क्वेश्चन का.
Sir, how is sir फालतू जवाब कैसे हो सकता है सर जब
जबान क्यों लड़ते हैं? मेरा बेटा जबान नहीं लड़ा था, तुम जबान लड़ा रहे हो.
Sir, what will be the next course of action? As a party, what will be the next course of action?
The party is going to come up with some plan which we'll come to know. And obviously, it was, everybody knows that IPAC has been our agency since 2019. And our political strategies are decided there, and the programs and other things were all there. So obviously, all those Mr. Shah was trying to take away via ED, which he failed. So, I mean, that's all I can say, nothing.
What was in that green file? Discussions have happened in the DCP police station?
Well, the DCP came just now.
So what was in that green file that was taken away?
Discussion happened with Mr. Derek.
So what was in that? So what was in that green file that was taken away during an ongoing ED investigation, sir?
As soon as you find out, let me know.
So why was it so essential for you to take out that green file?
यार मैं तुमसे हाथ जोड़ता हूँ.
Sir, at least
I don't want to answer to Republic. As simple as that. I'm not answerable. I'm not answerable. You ask questions. I'm not answerable to you. Beta, nahi beta.
So you are saying
no. Acha, chalo beta, please.
So you are running away from our questions, sir.
I'm not running away, beta.
That is evident, sir. That is evident.
Everything you see this cut is all cricket ball.
Okay.
Never run away, beta.
Sir, just
never run away.
Why there was so much?
जिस दिन बीजेपी बंगाल में आया था और बीजेपी बंगाल में 60 सीट जीते थे उस दिन ही बंगाल का ब्लैक डे हो गया. जिस दिन प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी बने थे उस दिन ही ब्लैक डे हो गया. जिस दिन बीजेपी बंगाल में जाके मोहन बंगाल को मोहन बेंगन बोलते हैं, जिस दिन रविंद्रनाथ ठाकुर और विवेकानंद का डिफरेंस नहीं जानते उस दिन ही बंगाल में ब्लैक डे हो गया. तो बीजेपी बंगाल में जितना ब्लैक डे लाए हैं और ब्लैक डे देखने को बाकी नहीं है हम लोग का. अभी सबसे बड़ा ब्लैक डे उन लोग देखेगा जब मई महीना में जब उन लोग 10 के कम नीचे आ जाएंगे.
Was it justified to disturb an ongoing?
We are not speaking to our chief minister already told us what Republic is. Don't tell us about it.
Justified.
What is talking about? Okay, as you've seen that yesterday we had a full in across every block in Bengal. We had a protest at the grassroots level. Today we have done our protest here, and Mamata Banerjee, as we speak, is leading a protest from 8B bus stand to the Hazra stop.
What wasn't that green file that was taken away during an ongoing ED investigation, ma'am?
आप बताइए ये नया क्या है? हम लोग जब मनरेगा के लिए गए थे मंत्रालय में पंचायत में तब भी ड्रैग किया गया था. Each time we protect को तो ड्रैग ही कर जाते हैं. So it's nothing new. This is the BJP's way of dealing with opponents.
What wasn't that green file that was taken during an ongoing ED investigation, ma'am?
Okay, getting in some breaking news now. The ED has written to the Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court. The legal team tried to make a mention in front of the Calcutta High Court Chief Justice, but they could not. They failed to. They were not successful because he was not available. This is what we are hearing. The mail was written by the Enforcement Directorate to the acting Chief Justice of the High Court of Calcutta. And in that mail, they had referred to the petition that was listed as a supplementary list item number 1 to be taken up along with item number 10 of the daily supplementary list being presided by Honorable Justice Subra Ghosh. And when the matter was taken up for hearing around 2:30 p.m., there was crowd and gathering inside the courtroom, and despite repeated requests, the courtroom was not cleared. Honorable Justice had risen, saying that she would come back in 5 minutes, but thereafter the matter was set to be adjourned to the 14th of January. I'm going across to Shawan, joining us with the details of the petition. The latest attempt being made. Shawan, the ED not giving up. From the mail, it appears they want an urgent hearing. Is there any update to that mail that was sent?
Well, Niranjan, we have now accessed a copy of the email that was sent to the acting Chief Justice, because this comes at a time when the Enforcement Directorate has been making multiple attempts for the matter to come up for hearing. The reason being because here you're essentially dealing with the evidence that has been taken away by the Chief Minister. And if you see the details of the mail, they are essentially making a mention of the overreach of the state police, and that is the reason why the Enforcement Director essentially believes that there can be no further delay in this matter, because this directly hampers their entire investigation. As I speak, there is a high-level meeting that is already underway here in the national capital for the Enforcement Director. They're basically looking at whether at all there is any way to protect the evidence that has been taken away, or rather stolen, by the Chief Minister of West Bengal, as it would have direct ramifications on the future of this entire investigation, potentially dealing with hawala transactions that have taken place and money that has been used during campaigning in the Goa elections.
In fact, very interestingly, the second last paragraph in the mail, they've also written here that they are fearing that their officers could be harassed and even arrested in connection with the false and frivolous cases that may already be lodged or will be lodged in connection with what happened yesterday. ED fearing arrest. Shawan, while we stay with the live pictures, let's go full frame to the live pictures from Kolkata. TMC protest, BJP protest, and Shawan getting us the details. Shawan, are you there? Okay, so we'll go across to Shawan, but these are pictures coming in. There is a parallel protest. There are two protests ongoing in Kolkata as we speak. One is the BJP protest and second is the Mamata Banerjee march. Mamata Banerjee march is against Enforcement Directorate. She's upset that IPAC was raided. And here in Kolkata, another protest is on as we speak. And that protest is by the BJP protesting against Mamata Banerjee, asking Mamata Banerjee what was in the files, what was in the green files, and why she stole the file. I'm going across to Pinky, also joining us live. We have back-to-back breaking updates that are coming in as we speak. Those are live pictures of the protest of the BJP that is coming in from Kolkata. On the other hand, there is a protest march also by Mamata Banerjee. Two back-to-back protests. And as we stay with the protests, ladies and gentlemen, there is a mail that has been shot by the Enforcement Directorate to the Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court. And they've asked the Chief Justice for urgent interim relief in the instant writ petition, saying that the petitioner apprehends that officers will be harassed and arrested in connection with the false and frivolous cases that may be lodged or will be lodged in connection with the incident of 8th of January. As such, it is most humbly requested that this court may be pleased to assign the matter to any other honorable justice so that it can be taken up today itself at 4 p.m. So the 4 p.m. request has passed. Let's see if Pinky is live. I'll try and go across to our correspondents there. And we had a few reactions coming in this morning. The BJP questioning Trinamool Congress. We tried asking the Trinamool Congress on our part why Mamata stole the files. They tried to target Republic. Obviously had no answers to why their supreme leader stole the files. Pinky is live once again. Pinky, protest versus protest. Pinky, क्या हो रहा है वहाँ पे?
देखिए रोहित गौर है मेरे साथ और जो विजुअल्स अभी देख रहे हैं कि हाजरा पहुंचने ही वाले हैं। ममता बनर्जी के साथ जो काउंसलर्स, सांसद, विधायक है वो उसके साथ जो रैली जा रहा है सपोर्टर्स को लेके वो हाजरा पहुंचने ही वाले हैं। हाजरा से कालीघाट के एकदम पास में ही ये हाजरा, वहां से क्या मैसेज देता है, क्या मैसेज देंगे वो, क्या बताएंगे जनता के लिए, क्या पॉलिटिकल बाइट्स, क्या पॉलिटिकल बात करेंगे, ईडी के बारे में क्या बताएंगे, ये बहुत बड़ा सवाल है। उससे भी बड़ा सवाल ये है कि जो ममता बनर्जी ने पिछले दिन ईडी के रेड के बीच से डॉक्यूमेंट्स लेके गए,
हाँ जी,
डिजिटल डिवाइसेस लेके गए, वो कहां पर है, वो कहां पर गया है, वो सबसे बड़ा अभी क्वेश्चन है। क्योंकि जो गाड़ी में ममता बनर्जी ने आईपैक का डॉक्यूमेंट्स, जो गाड़ी में आईपैक का डिजिटल एविडेंसेस, जो गाड़ी में ममता बनर्जी ने कोलकाता पुलिस में सीसीटीवी फुटेज का हार्ड डिस्क लेके गए थे, उस गाड़ी अभी तक लापता है। ममता बनर्जी की तरफ से अभी तक ऐसा कुछ बात नहीं आया है उस डॉक्यूमेंट्स में क्या कुछ था, ऐसा क्या था उस डॉक्यूमेंट्स में। ममता बनर्जी का कहना ये था पार्टी का स्ट्रैटेजी कुछ वहां पर था, पार्टी का कैंडिडेट लिस्ट वहां पर था, मगर ऐसा भी कुछ विजुअल्स आया है कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ वेस्ट बंगाल लिखा हुआ फाइल, जिस गाड़ी में ममता बनर्जी उस फाइल को उठा रहे हैं, उस गाड़ी में थी। अब
our significant trade, economic, people-to-people and maritime interests. We urge all concerned parties to exercise restraint, eschew unilateral actions, and resolve all issues through peaceful means without threat or use of force. Question from RT India. Yes, we have seen reports. In fact, we've seen reports through your channel that 3 Indians are there in that particular ship. We are ascertaining these details from the authorities concerned. This side. Parikshit.
Sir, could you give us a status of the India-US trade deal in light of the US Commerce Secretary's latest statement, where he has gone on to say that the trade deal that was negotiated and agreed upon with India earlier does not exist on paper anymore, and he said the deal did not happen because the Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not call President Trump. And also, when it comes to Russian oil, in light of developments taking place in the US and the Lindsey Graham bill, is the Ministry of External Affairs, is the government giving any sort of advisory or policy on what's going to be our stand on buying Russian oil for the future?
Okay. Ajay.
Good evening, sir. Ajay Banerjee. Sir, I seek a further clarification on what Parikshit, my friend, has just asked. Sir, in the past 1 week, President Trump has said many things with regards to his relations to India. He even said that Prime Minister Modi said that, sir, I seek time from you. I, as a reporter, seek a clarification. Did Prime Minister Modi say, sir, to Donald Trump, or he said excellency?
Okay. Yeshi.
This is Yeshi Sedi from Business India. India also buys oil from Venezuela, just 2% of it. Is the current instability in Venezuela and the US, saying that they are going to take interim control of Venezuela, going to impact that? And secondly, about the 8th Indian veteran, you had said that you will get back and tell us what are the charges under which he's arrested right now.
Okay. Aishi?
So this is Aishi God from ANI. Two questions. One, has there been any kind of engagement directly with the United States administration following the comments that we have been seeing? And second question is regarding the visit of German Chancellor to India. Will the issue of Ariha Shah, the Indian child who has been in German foster care, will come up during the discussion between Prime Minister Modi and German Chancellor?
Okay. Huma?
So I'm Huma Siddiqui and I have two questions. I'm from Stat News Global. One, how does India look at the situation in the LAC region, and how many Indians are there in Venezuela, Cuba and Colombia? If you have any numbers, please do share.
Indians, you said?
Yes, sir. In case there is a need, would they be repatriated?
Okay. So first, Parikshit, coming to your question. We have seen the remarks. India and the United States were committed to negotiating a bilateral trade agreement with the US as far back as 13th of February last year, that is. Since then, two sides have held multiple rounds of negotiations to arrive at a balanced and mutually beneficial trade agreement. On several occasions, we have been close to a deal. The characterization of these discussions in the reported remarks is not accurate. We remain interested in a mutually beneficial trade deal between two complementary economies and look forward to concluding it. Incidentally, Prime Minister and President Trump have also spoken on phone on 8 occasions during 2025, covering different aspects of our wide-ranging partnership. हमने इन टिप्पणियों को देखा है। भारत और अमेरिका पिछले साल 13 फरवरी से ही एक द्विपक्षीय व्यापार समझौते पर बातचीत करने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध थे। तब से दोनों पक्षों ने एक संतुलित और पारस्परिक रूप से लाभकारी व्यापारिक समझौते पर पहुंचने के लिए कई दौर की बातचीत की है। कई मौके पर हम समझौते के बहुत करीब पहुंचे हैं। रिपोर्ट की गई टिप्पणियों में इन चर्चाओं का जो विवरण दिया गया है वह ठीक नहीं है। हम दो पूरक अर्थव्यवस्थाओं के बीच पारस्परिक रूप से लाभकारी व्यापार समझौता में रुचि रखते हैं और इसे संपन्न करने की आशा करते हैं। संयोग से हमारे प्रधानमंत्री और राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के बीच 2025 के दौरान 8 बार फोन पर बातचीत हुई है, जिसमें हमारी व्यापक साझेदारी के विभिन्न पहलुओं पर दोनों नेताओं ने चर्चा किया। Ajay, on your question regarding how leaders address each other, let me say that Prime Minister and President Trump, they have a friendly relationship and have always addressed each other with mutual respect as per diplomatic norms. Aishi, on a question on energy resourcing, I just told you what is our broad approach to it. It is dependent on the evolving dynamics in the global market, as also the imperative for us to provide energy at affordable rates to our 1.4 billion people so that their energy security needs are met. So this will be a factor in the way we engage the global market on energy sources. On update on Commander Tiwari, Punendra Tiwari, sorry. He was arrested last month in a case that has been going on in Qatar for quite some time now. As per our information, apart from him, there are several others who have been arrested as well, but they are not Indian national, they are of other nationalities. Our embassy is in touch with Commander Tiwari and his family and is extending all possible consular help to him. The arrest happened after a court verdict. This matter presently is sub judice, and it would not be appropriate for me to comment any further on this issue. Ayushi, yes, on the question of our conversations, yes, we have continuous conversations with the United States on several matters. On the question of Ariha Shah, we have, you would have seen that the German Chancellor would be paying an official visit to India on 12th and 13th. We will have bilateral talks between the two leaders, our Prime Minister and German Chancellor in Ahmedabad. During these discussions, all aspects of the bilateral relationship will be discussed. You would have seen our statement that we issued post developments in Venezuela. We are closely following developments in that part of the world. As far as Indian nationals who are resident in Venezuela and Colombia, other countries in the region, we have not a big community, a small community, some 50 people in Venezuela. And we've also, through our travel advisory, we have asked them to be in touch, and our embassy is in touch with them. In Colombia, we have somewhere around 650 Indian nationals, and there again, our embassy is in close touch with them as well. But as far as our commitment to Indian nationals are concerned, as and when there is a need for us to extend a helping hand and support, we will surely do that. Okay, please, Preeti.
First response from India, MEA on the proposed Russia sanctions bill. Taking a short break, we'll be back with the live coverage both from Kolkata and also New Delhi. Stay tuned.
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का। MDH की देगी मिर्च। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो, मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ। हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी। आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर मसाला।
You're probably as important as a calculator was in the 17th or 18th century. Very interesting, but it didn't change the world.
Actually, see, that comparison is fair and also incomplete. A calculator took arithmetic off your plate, so your mind could do higher maths. AI takes routine pattern work off your plate, so your mind can do higher judgment. Arnab, did the calculator change the world? Or did it quietly enable engineering, spaceflight, finance, encryption? It was boring, but it moved the frontier of what humans could attempt. I'm in that same family. Not the hero of the story, but the infrastructure behind new possibilities.
In association with Blue Machines.
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the two tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant vessel Sofia, which was caught, a dark fleet caught from near Caribbean Sea, which was taking the oil to China, United States has made it amply clear, taken together all these actions, that when it comes to its neighborhood, the Western...
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी every day.
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the two tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant vessel Sofia, which was caught, a dark fleet caught from near Caribbean Sea, which was taking the oil to China, United States has made it amply clear, taken together all these actions, that when it comes to its neighborhood, the the Western Hemisphere, the so-called Monroe or the latest Donroe doctrine, they are the boss, they are the mafioso. Because the first reaction that has come from Russia says that this is absolutely in breach of international marine law. Now, United States does not subscribe to it. There is something called UN clause, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas. The US is not a signatory to it, and that's why they sort of, wherever their navy operates, they behave as if they are a law unto themselves, even in otherwise peace operations.
A very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Live and Breaking. I am Rakta Mishra with you. Well, the US Commerce Secretary has made multiple claims what went behind the trade deal, why the talks derailed. And now in the latest, the Ministry of External Affairs has debunked the claims that have been made by the Commerce Secretary. But one thing is clear after the revelation that India did not budge. India did not let the United States dictate the terms as they always want to. We'll get you more on that, but first the headlines. Calcutta High Court hearing on ED, plea on IPAC, raids adjourned due to large-scale crowd in the courtroom. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee holds a massive protest in Kolkata against the BJP over ED raids at IPAC office. Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei addresses the nation amid widespread protests, warns Trump. Major revelation by US Commerce Secretary on why the trade deal was stuck. US confirms Prime Minister Modi held his ground. Trump aide confirms India did not agree or capitulate within the prescribed timeline on the trade deal. So, India has strongly responded to the recent attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh, saying that the minority attacks in Bangladesh need to be dealt swiftly and firmly. We have the reaction coming in from Ranadhir Jaiswal, who is the spokesperson for the MEA. Listen in.
We continue to witness a disturbing pattern of recurring attacks on minorities that you referred, as well as their homes and establishments, business establishments by extremists in Bangladesh. Such communal incidents need to be dealt with swiftly and firmly. We have also observed a troubling tendency to attribute such incidents to personal rivalries, personal vendettas, political differences and other extraneous reasons. Such disregard only emboldens the extremists and the perpetrators of such crimes and deepens the sense of fear and insecurity among the minorities.
And also, viewers, India has responded to America's Russia sanctions bill. First, the MEA response to bill. The first response from MEA to the bill that proposes 500 tariffs on India. The statement, of course, we're just going to play out that bite.
We have seen the remarks. India and the United States were committed to negotiating a bilateral trade agreement with the US as far back as 13th of February last year, that is. Since then, two sides have held multiple rounds of negotiations to arrive at a balanced and mutually beneficial trade agreement. On several occasions, we have been close to a deal. The characterization of these discussions in the reported remarks is not accurate. We remain interested in a mutually beneficial trade deal between two complementary economies and look forward to concluding it. Incidentally, Prime Minister and President Trump have also spoken on phone on 8 occasions during 2025, covering different aspects of our wide-ranging partnership. On energy resourcing, I just told you what is our broad approach to it. It is dependent on the evolving dynamics in the global market, as also the imperative for us to provide energy at affordable rates to our 1.4 billion people so that their energy security needs are met. So this will be a factor in the way we engage the global market on energy sources.
And in fact, now we're getting in this update on Sabarimala gold theft. Now, SIT has arrested the chief priest of the Sabarimala temple. And this is the story coming in from Kerala. The special investigation team probing the Sabarimala gold theft case has arrested Tantri Kantararu Rajivaru, a prominent figure in the Taramon family, the hereditary priest of Sabarimala temple. So that's the breaking news we have right now. Key arrest made by the SIT probing the Sabarimala case. The gold theft by the SIT. All right, my colleague Shankar is joining us live in the broadcast for more. Shankar, tell us more details about this arrest that is coming in on this matter.
The key priest at Sabarimala temple, Tantri Kantararu Rajivaru, who belongs to the Thalaman family, the hereditary priest of Sabarimala temple, was summoned for questioning by the special investigation team in the morning, and he was interrogated for hours, and his arrest was recorded after the probe team received crucial and satisfying evidence against him. He was summoned for questioning after the other accused stated to the probe team that the key accused in the case, Unnikrishnan Poti, was introduced to the Devasam board and the officials by this Tantri Kantararu Rajivaru. It was as per his recommendations the decision to hand over the gold-plated panels to Unnikrishnan Poti was taken, and it was he who suggested or recommended to take these gold-plated panels to Chennai Smart Creations for maintenance works. And the probe team also received, while examining the call details of Tantri Kantararu Rajivaru, the probe team found that he had called the CEO of Smart Creations and the Bellary-based businessman Govardhan and the key accused Unnikrishnan Poti several times in the past, and they met a number of times in various places, and the probe team received some images, some pictures of their meeting from the devices seized from these accused. These evidences turned crucial in the probe, and he was summoned by the probe team for questioning on Friday morning. After, in the beginning, the key priest tried to defend himself by giving some sort of arguments on each questions, but with the backing of evidence, like the probe team presented before him the call detail, the copy of the call details, some chat history, and the images of him with the other accused in the case. So soon he could not defend himself, and he was arrested, and now he is being taken. To Kollam Vigilance Court, and he will be produced before the court in a couple of hours, and he will be remanded.
Right, many thanks, Shankar, for joining us with those details coming in on that story. Moving forward to other stories, viewers, the anti-terror operations continued for a third straight day in Kathua of Jammu after a gunfight broke out between the security forces and Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists in the forests of Kahog in Kathua. The search operations were carried out by the security forces with no confirmed neutralization so far, but efforts are underway to crack down upon the terror hideouts. Here's a quick report.
Anti-terror operations continued for the third consecutive day after terror outfits were spotted in the Kahog forest of Kathua. Security forces continue to carry out the sweep operations after a gunfight broke out with the terror outfits. The Indian Army has inducted the K9 squad in the search operations to track down the terrorists. Sniffer dogs have been deployed to scan the caves inside the forested area. As per the reports, no neutralization of terrorists have been reported so far, and efforts are underway to crack down the terrorists. The IGP of Jammu stated on X that the SOG is relentlessly working on the operation and that teams of the CRPF are also participating. The security forces is set to be put on high alert ahead of Republic Day on 26th of January.
And the tussle between TMC and ED has now reached the courtroom, with both filing petitions against each other. After the showdown at the IPAC office yesterday, ED filed a petition against TMC, the copy of which Republic has accessed. Now, the TMC as well retorted by filing a petition alleging a political motive behind the ED raids. So, viewers, it is now Mamata versus ED in West Bengal. It's a full-blown war that has now reached the courts. Watch this report on what has really unfolded so far.
The tussle between TMC and the Enforcement Directorate is no more just theatrical. It is now playing out in the Calcutta courtroom.
The Enforcement Directorate before the court is essentially making a plea that they want the court to intervene, and hopefully the court is going to direct the Central Bureau of Investigation to investigate this entire matter, because they believe that the Bengal police has been completely discredited in the manner they conducted themselves along with the Chief Minister. Someone who holds a constitutional position has essentially violated her position, has abused power and intimidated Enforcement Directorate officers.
After the political showdown at IPAC office yesterday, ED filed a petition against Mamata in the court. Republic exclusively accessed the Enforcement Directorate's petition that said the Directorate's officials were not allowed to perform their duties. TMC registered FIRs against ED officers, criminally intimidating them, putting pressure to refrain from the raids. ED moved Calcutta High Court seeking CBI FIR against Mamata Banerjee after she hauled the files from IPAC office into her car.